Welcome to the July edition of 3Squares. We are live again for the first time in several months, so it's pretty exciting. We've always been alive. This hasn't been a postmortem kind of podcast, but we are live. So if you have certain questions or you want to raise a hand or you want to just engage with us, feel free to drop a note. We'd be happy to respond. Thank you for joining us. I am Charlie Arnott with Look East and the Center for Food Integrity. Our mission is to keep the food system trustworthy. And once again, I am thrilled to be with my co-host Kevin Ryan and Susan Schwally.
And I'm Susan Schwally. I'm with QualSites, where we are upending traditional research, getting closer to consumers through passive data collection and talking to them in the moment.
Ooh. And I'm Kevin Ryan with Malachite Strategy and Research, helping CPG and food service companies at the front end of innovation and strategy.
Excellent. So we have a very specific and timely topic today that we're going to cover from a couple of different angles. So you're going to have the pleasure of hearing our perspective on Make America Healthy Again. It is a topic that is a hot topic across the food system as people are trying to understand, what does it mean? What do I do with it? Why is it important? What kind of action should I or should not take? So we've done, through the Center for Food Integrity, some consumer research that I will share. And Kevin and Susan and I will talk a little bit about that. And then Kevin's going to talk about what CPG companies are doing, because it's a challenging moment when, again, people are trying to sort signal from noise and trying to decide, is this an opportunity or a risk, and how do I engage or not engage, and what does it mean to my company? So that kind of volatility always creates risk and opportunity. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But we're going to kick off today with some research that we've done using predictive anthropology, a methodology that we've done for some time, kind of focusing on beliefs and motives and values, as opposed to simply self-reporting. So every methodology has its pluses and minuses, its pros and cons, and its specific applications for which it is best suited. We chose this methodology because we think it is well suited for where we find ourselves today, kind of trying to understand what our consumers' beliefs and motives and understandings of everything going on in food and agriculture. And I'm going to talk today specifically about three specific segments that we identified: the authenticity seeker, the rationalist, and the comfort seeker. And what's interesting about all of the five segments that we identified, everybody likes the idea of MAHA, and who wouldn't? Who does not want to see a healthier America? We all do. But as they begin to kind of peel back the onion, what we're seeing is some skepticism or concern about how MAHA is manifesting itself across the food system. And another thing that is interesting, and we won't dive into this today, is each of these three segments also expressed very specifically in the research concern about the impact on farmers, which I thought was fascinating, that they actually connected the dots to say, hang on, if we're thinking about massive bans on this, that, or the other thing, then what's the impact particularly on smaller growers and farmers, which I thought was really, really interesting that was a part of the conversation. But we're going to start with the authenticity seeker. They are 14% of the population, 18% share of voice. So they punch a little bit above their weight in terms of the digital conversation, what's happening online. They like the idea of MAHA. They see this as answering their call to reclaim our health. They resonate very strongly with the pushback against processed ingredients, corporate control. However, they say, but here. To fully understand the movement and to trust the movement, they want to see more lived transparency. They want to hear from farmers and chefs and retailers and those who are engaged in producing and processing food. They're much more interested in hearing from real people, not just slogans or top-down messaging. They're also not bandwagon people. They've been talking about these topics for a long time, long before MAHA became a thing, long before Robert Kennedy Jr. became our Secretary of Health and Human Services. But they're excited about the promises that MAHA brings to specific issues that are important to them, like raw foods, raw dairy, natural supplements, alternative wellness practices. However, and again, this is where we begin to see some challenges with how MAHA is manifesting, they retain a certain degree of skepticism about messaging and ultimate intentions. So they are concerned about the blurring of MAHA and MAGA. And when they see those two things come together, it raises concerns and some anxiety about the true focus. Is it actually on food integrity, or is it more focused on political positioning? And any movement for them that fails to center on the lived realities of producers or chefs or others in the food system, those who are on the front line, is at risk of losing its credibility. Now, they are interested in hearing from those people because they want an honest, authentic conversation about the pros and cons of MAHA, free from political spin, and the echo chamber of wellness gurus, right? So that's kind of the authenticity seeker. And they are an influential group because others look to them because of their search for authenticity, their look behind the curtain to see what's actually going on for their perspective on MAHA. Any thoughts on the authenticity seeker?
Who does it? Is there a demographic aspect to that? I
Yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
can
they're
kind of
de-
picture in my mind who it is,
Mhm.
but I don't want to make an
Yep,
assumption.
yep,
But I
yep,
have a
yep, yep.
picture of who that
So,
is.
so they are college educated. They tend to live in urban and rural areas. They're not suburbanites. They
Mhm.
work in creative fields, NGOs, journalism, etc. So that's kind of who this group is, predominantly white, but not exclusively white. So that gives you a little better sense, probably 55-45 female.
Yeah.
So that's going to skew a little bit to that direction. So demographically, that's who we're talking about.
So,
Yeah.
so Charlie, you said they're interested in raw foods. Were there any other aspects of MAHA that they are keen on to?
So it really is the idea that food is key to wellness,
Okay.
right? That
Yeah.
that food is key to wellness, and that they've been talking about these issues: processed foods,
Mhm.
Yeah.
dyes, too much sugar, too much fat, too much salt, being in our diet for a long time. So,
Mhm.
they're excited about the spotlight being shown on these issues, but they're concerned about being politicized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I mean, they're the ones that I've seen in social media being excited by this idea of it. Maybe to your point, maybe they're not politically aligned with the rest of the administration, but they like the idea of the cleaning up, as they would say it, of the food system. So that aligns of what I've seen of folks that are, very vocal, I think, about this.
So I'm assuming that they have some distrust or look a little side eye at large CPGs. These folks, consumers of the smaller brands,
Yes, yeah. So
more local.
they're not going to be exactly right. They're not going to be big
Mhm.
fans of big corporations and corporate messaging and PR. In fact, that will be something that drives their mistrust, right? If it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
overly polished, they don't want to hear
Right.
from the CEO. They want to hear from people who are actually
Yeah.
making the food system work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, and I've written about this, how much trust you can get back if you are taking it out based, with some pressure. So,
Mhm.
if a big company is removing all of these things and then I don't think that these folks are going to come back in and go, oh, yes, give me that product from a big corporation now that
Right.
it doesn't feel like there's going to be
Right.
a swing back to many of these.
And,
Yeah, and Kevin, I think go ahead, Susan.
I was going to say before we got on this call, we were also talking about the phenomenon of the wait and see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, I mean, this is unpredictability is really difficult, particularly for the large CPGs or large ag, right? So if consumers see the company kind of waffling, or not to call out poor Coke, but like we were talking about, maybe they'll put one SKU against the pressure of sugar. These folks may see that, to your point, as a little disingenuous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. And Kevin, to your point, I think this is really where it's challenging for CPGs and others to kind of sort the signal from noise, understanding what their consumer research says, understanding what the latest from the administration is, what are their competitors doing. It is a period of significant volatility, and is your strategy to kind of hunker down and wait and see, or do you want to be a first mover?
Mhm.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out.
Is this another level of, remember when it was clean label? What was that, 10 years ago, 15 years? Are
Yeah.
we going to go through another cleaning of labels? I don't know, Kevin, you're following these products so closely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think the difference here is that if everyone's doing it at the same time,
Mhm.
what does that do? Before it was a company choosing we are cleaning up, we're cleaning up what we're doing, or we're launching something, or it's a brand that's launching it. If everyone is doing it, is there a point of differentiation? Is everyone's removing artificial dyes, colors from their products or whatever across? Does that make a difference other than people feeling, well, we're making a difference across the food system. Because I wonder whether or not, especially with this consumer you're talking about, they're already making the choices to choose products that are
Correct.
already
Correct.
done for them. They've already, and so it becomes more of like a desire to clean up the food system for the country,
Others.
others,
Yeah.
versus for me, because I have the means and the ability to already be doing that.
Susan, you mentioned an interesting, you're bringing up labels triggered another thought. We were having a conversation with a retailer earlier this week, and they're actually removing some labels because
Mhm.
one of the things they discovered was it was raising issues that no one was asking about.
That's right.
Mm,
So they were putting some labels on. People were like,
right.
I didn't know I should be
Didn't think
concerned
about
about that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now they did.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of related to, and we may talk about this later with a different group, is I feel like there's this tension, or there's going to be this tension between people who are looking for products that provide health benefits and have a lot of these ingredients that nobody really knows what they are, but they may accept. Like, I think about the protein bar
Hmm.
category and some of these categories that I feel like they've been getting a pass on this like clean label or authenticity piece,
Yeah.
but yet they're given the pass and they're used. And I don't know if we're starting to see backlash against it. Maybe it's certain groups. I don't know if this is a rabbit hole we want to go down, but I'm always thinking about those tension in some of these healthy products, functional versus now this removing a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's a great segue talking about the tension. I'm gonna move forward to the next group and make sure we've got plenty of time here. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the comfort seeker. They are 43% of the population, 27% share of voice, right? So these are mostly high school and some technical education. They work in skilled trades, blue collar jobs. They're going to be lower class, lower middle class in that area. This is going to be 21% of comfort seekers are Hispanic. So this is the most ethnically diverse group that we have. And their perspective on MAHA is very different. They see MAHA as a trustworthy guide that helps them make better choices without having to overhaul their entire lifestyle. They're drawn to the focus on simpler, safer ingredients like reducing high fructose corn syrup, cutting artificial dyes, or eliminating preservatives, especially when those messages are delivered by familiar figures like Dr. Oz, Food Babe, Casey Means, or Good Morning America or ABC News, right? So we're beginning to get a picture of who these people are. Maha's nostalgic tone also resonates very deeply with them. They are not looking to reject modern systems altogether. They just want somebody to reassure them that the food system is still rooted in care, tradition, and integrity. So they're going to rely more on familiar brands. As long as MAHA, this is the key part, as long as MAHA stays calm, apolitical, and practical, it fits right into their comfort zone. They're not chasing purity or ideological reform. They just want to feel good about the choices they're making in a chaotic world. They are overwhelmed by the amount of information, the conflicting nature of information. When MAHA gives them clear cues, such as trusted labels, emotionally resonant stories, or gives them clear guidance from beloved experts, they welcome it into their daily lives. But if the message creates uncertainty, if it's perceived to be fear mongering, they retreat to the comfort of what they already know. Right.
Hmm.
So this is the tension, right? You've got the authenticity seeker over here saying, I want to see everything that's going on. I want to talk to the producer. I want to talk to the farmer. I want to talk to the chef. And the comfort seeker is somebody, please just give me clear guidance. And I'm happy to get that guidance from people that I trust or that I've seen on TV, because by being on TV, they must have some credibility or expertise.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense that that is one of the largest groups, because it is. And I've done an amazing amount of studies on, I think, this group as you would define them. And taste is a huge driver
Yep.
for this group. Taste and reliability, because of the value aspect of it. I cannot create something for my family that gets thrown away. I have to be able to do it. So, but health has always been there. And before it was always, I want meat and three veg, or I
Yeah.
want the 3 squares, well, I want something like that. And that's how I would define health. And I think what you're saying makes complete sense, because it basically says, I want a guide. I want someone to show but I think that the roadblock will be, I want the same experience. I want something my family's not going to reject.
Yes.
And I want the same price. that allow, and that's where you're going to see the corporate tension, so to speak.
Yeah.
Charlie,
The
were
other,
there? Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Susan.
I was going to ask if there were any demos. Like, is this strongly a family
Yes.
group?
So yeah, these people are more likely to live in the suburbs or in rural areas. They're not likely to live in urban areas. This is the group that is most likely to have kids, either living with them or empty nesters. So over 50% of this group will have children. Right.
Yeah.
So these are going to be families. The other thing that I'll tell you, just in terms of their skepticism, is they have relied and trusted on the USDA seal, FDA
Hmm.
approval, et cetera.
Mhm.
So when the administration begins to challenge the agencies or the agencies begin to put out conflicting guidance, it
Yeah.
causes a great deal of
Problem.
anxiety,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because hang on,
Yep.
for decades, I've relied on that. And now you're telling me I should be concerned about vaccines or food safety or the health or.
Mhm.
Now I'm unsure who I should trust if I can't trust the government agencies.
Yeah. So I'm kind of overlaying this in my mind, this broad center, this 43% with work that I've done in the past, understanding the healthfulness of people's choices in their diet, right? And then some of the attitudes and challenges that they express about health in their diet. This broad middle, a lot of times it is very family driven. The challenge is I want to do better, but I don't have the time. And sometimes I don't know how. And
Hmm.
so this makes a lot of sense to me that there's struggling going on here due to those pressures, as well as an interest, but not the depth of searching. And to your point, Kevin, it has to taste good, but it also has to be convenient along
Hmm.
with the price. It's that trifecta for this group. And they've not been able to make that work with their health for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, to speak to the corporate aspect of it, it's going to be this is going to be the group that's going to be the hardest to
Mhm.
maintain their loyalty to a brand as they go forward and being able to fulfill the needs of an administration of a MAHA, and I think of the pressure of that the first group you talked about, because
Hmm.
they're going to be the most vocal when it comes to,
Correct.
well, you need to do this
Right.
and maintain the price and maintain the taste that this group that you're now talking about wants. So that is going to be really challenging for them to kind of all put together. So yeah.
I
Well,
was
in
reading some
terms
of
of
the
the
comments below an authenticity seeker kind of blog and food chain, and one of them said the problem is we're addicted to food that tastes good. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
we are. That's
it is true.
absolutely true. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Well,
evolution.
I mean, this group is probably good for the large CPGs, right? Because I don't hear you saying they distrust that. They're
no,
looking for
they want
maybe
those brands, those
they want
familiar
they want
brands,
Betty
right?
Crocker, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, on the socioeconomics of this really is more of a mainstream value
Yep.
consumer,
Yep.
particularly when we have, economic issues. So we know that these CPGs have to have a range of premium to mainstream
Yeah.
to value in order to
Yeah.
drive profitability, unless
Yeah.
you're really smart at harvesting a mature
Yeah.
category. And I won't name the company or two. So that's additional pressure on them, I think. If they
Yeah.
can't hold on to authentic, they're going to get more stratified in their product
Yeah.
Yep.
diversity.
I would worry if I had to project a year into the future. I think that the dialogue could become, not necessarily, but could become a preaching quality that
Yeah.
this group feels negative about. The
Mhm.
idea that maybe not just the administration of this, but the first group. I'm sorry, I forget the name.
Authenticity seeker.
The
Authenticity.
Yeah.
authenticity seeker is seen as preaching to them. This
Yeah.
is what you should be eating. This is what, and it's similar to what you see when people talk about we should be creating better food for food deserts kind of mentality. And it's like,
Right.
well, but you don't understand the cultural aspect of food deserts.
Correct.
You don't understand the types of foods. You're just going to be, all that kind of stuff. I can definitely see there's some backlash by this group because they're like, you don't understand. You're trying to push. You can afford this type of product. And now you're telling me that I need to also be able to afford this product. So
Like telling Charlie he has to eat kale or telling
That's
Exactly.
him
not
he
happening.
have
That
to
is
use
not
a
happening. I will die. I
composting
will
Yeah.
die first. I will die
Yeah.
first.
So,
So
I mean, I think, yeah, and I can see people wanting health in general, but how is health defined is
Yeah.
going to be the hard part, because once you get down to brass tacks and say, this is what we mean, we're removing this from your food. And that also may have a taste thing that
Yeah.
could be an issue.
So, but
Well, it's like when you have a conversation with consumers about food safety, we think about that in terms of technical attributes. They begin to add quality attributes almost immediately,
Yes.
right? In terms
Yeah.
of, well, that's how I define food safety is it's also good for me,
Yeah.
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But is that like, okay, so I was just going to say, I don't know if you have any insight with these groups in terms of what their biggest health goals are. But if we start to chunk this whole thing up, like we're talking about dyes, we're talking about sugar, seed oils, pulling things out. But what are we really talking about? Are we talking about weight? Or are we talking about comorbidities driven by that? Like, and for these different groups, right? I would think this group, could be wrong, that weight is going to be a big issue for them. That's like the number one thing, at least I saw with the middle, whereas the authenticity is going to be much more specific potential
I think it's a great
things.
point that you've raised, Susan, because what I'm not hearing is an overarching approach to say this is how we're going to collectively make America healthy again. It's
Right.
really been an attack on this ingredient, that process, this element of the food system, as
Right.
opposed to here's a holistic approach for what we're going to do. Before we went on live, I was sharing with you some of the concerns we hear from stakeholders across the food system about the potential reduction in seed oils and the fact that you would struggle to have a food system today if you didn't have access to seed oils. So, Kevin, how are organizations with whom you engage evaluating and responding and talking about MAHA right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to the wait and see aspect. They're doing and have been doing. I mean, that's just the thing, is that there is no major food company that hasn't been experimenting and with removing dyes, removing artificial colors, artificial flavors, all of that. Maybe not seed oils as much, but definitely replacing different oils to, like, coconut or whatever. And that has a lot to do with supply chain.
Right.
And I mean, they're investigating even emulsifiers, which is next on the list. So there's a lot of wait and see and a lot of experimentation, but and running the numbers. How is this going to affect us? I think the one that's not talked about as much, it should be talked about, is safety. To your point, there are so many changes being taken place within MAHA that is pushing back on safety things that have been in the system for so long that it's going to be just recently, last week, the standard of identity, removing some of the standard of identity. And I don't mean that from a, what is jam? What is jelly? What does that mean? That's being removed. Now, that specifically is not safety, but talking about trust.
Yeah.
That is going to be, so that, and then removing some of the, USDA, coverage within plants and things like that. Before, that was always table stakes.
Yeah.
Now that's going to change. So that's another thing that's being talked about, is like, are we going to have to be more not forthright, that's not the right word. Are we going to have to be more vocal about our safety standards if the government itself is not as vocal about safety?
Yeah, that kind of goes to the comment I made earlier about the retailer taking some labels off. Are we going to have to start labeling things as safe? I mean, because that's been an assumption that we've always enjoyed in the United States. Well, not always, but in modern times, we've always enjoyed an assumption that the food system will be safe. And if there's a food safety incident, it's an exception to the rule.
Yes.
But the rule is still believed that our food will always be safe.
Yeah. I believe, and I've said this for about a year now, I believe that safety and quality will become brand benefits again. Prominent brand benefits. The Volvo aspect of the 1970s, when we have a safe car, you will see brands now become, and you see this within baby food, of course,
Sure.
but you're starting to see it within things like flour, and you're going to see it, I think, within produce a lot, of like all the checks and the blockchain and all that stuff, because I do think you'll see more recalls, you'll see more things like that, and I think people will get concerned, so they'll need another standard of safety check. But that's a prediction.
All right, so we're going to transition to the quiz, but in the meantime, clearly MAHA is going to continue to be a force in the food system for the foreseeable future. So if you have other comments or questions about it that you would like us to address at some point in time, you can drop them in the Q&A here, send each of us or any of us an individual email, or reach out to us at 3squaresmail@gmail.com. And with that, we'll turn it over to Quiz Master Kevin. We should get some music for the transition.
We should.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be, but
I don't either, but
yeah.
Maybe Jeopardy-esque.
It's already been
Jeopardy-esque.
taken. Jeopardy-esque. Yeah.
Yes.
Da, 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 da. Can't do that.
All right. So this month, I was like, I'm not really sure what to do. And I was thinking about different things. And I thought, you know what? For some reason, I got on the idea of regional American cuisine because it is really unusual. We don't think about it. Everything's so homogenized now, but there are regional pockets of food that
absolutely.
you don't see and you hear about, but you're not exactly sure. So the problem with doing this, though, is that I'm never sure exactly what both of you know when it comes to regional America. So we'll see if either of you have a one-up on this one. So we'll start at the beginning. All right. So question 1, Irish spaghetti sounds like a culinary oxymoron, but it's a real dish. What is Irish spaghetti made of? All right. Is it A, a dish where fried potatoes take the place of noodles and it's topped with spaghetti sauce, invented in Midwestern diners in the 1950s? So basically it's potatoes, and that's what makes it Irish. Is it B, a 1930s Better Homes and Gardens dish that mixes canned condensed tomato and mushroom soups along with garlic, salt, and Italian seasoning over pasta? Is it C, spaghetti and sauce tossed with leftover corned beef and sometimes cabbage, a way to use up leftovers after St. Patrick's Day? Or is it D, it's a version of shepherd's pie where the mashed potatoes are replaced with cooked spaghetti?
I think it's A or C. I think it's either the potatoes with spaghetti sauce or leftovers.
I'm going C.
You're going C? Then I'll go A, just to mix it up.
Okay, you're both incorrect. It is B, a Better Homes and Gardens.
No way, that's gross.
My mother made it.
I'm sorry.
That's how I know.
Oh,
yes.
sorry, Kevin.
How
was it? How was it?
My mother was not a good cook. She had what was called the wheel of Campbell's condensed soup. And
yes.
in the soup, you spin the wheel.
That's so cool.
She had one of those. I should have kept it. But
You
yes,
should've.
we went around the wheel. It almost sounds like
And that was on the wheel?
I don't know if it was on the wheel, but she loves condensed soups.
What was it again?
Oh yeah,
It was a mix of condensed tomato and condensed cream of mushroom with garlic salt, my mother's favorite seasoning.
Yeah.
And Italian seasoning, and then you just put it over pasta.
It was the garlic salt that threw me off because I thought tomato soup and cream of mushroom with garlic salt, that's unique.
I kind of want to
Sometimes
try
she
it.
would add in slices of Kraft singles
Ooh.
and
To really
melt
dress
it in,
it up.
make it even creamier. Hey, it's what I had as a child. So okay,
Yeah. I know, but you can't go to church potluck without condensed soup showing up somewhere.
No, and it still exists. So if you go on Facebook, you go on old church cookbooks, you go online, Irish spaghetti still exists. It's still seen. So
what region was this from, Kevin?
I think it is Midwestern.
It's a Midwest
I think you
thing?
do see
Okay.
it. Yeah, you do
Midwest.
see
Okay,
it.
it sounds Midwest.
Totally. Anytime you see the condensed soups usually pop up like that. Okay. Number 2, JoJo potatoes. I don't know if you've ever had JoJo potatoes. JoJo potatoes are a pressure fried potato slice served mostly in the Northwest, so Washington, Oregon, and Ohio, often in gas stations, but also in supermarket delis. What is the true history of the JoJo? Okay. Is it A, they were invented by a salesman for the Flavor Crisp Fryer Company to clean up the oil between frying chicken at trade shows, and people just ate the potatoes? Is it B, they originated at an Italian-American restaurant in Youngstown, Ohio, where the owner, Giuseppe Jojo Bellini, combined his love of fried chicken and Italian-style roasted potatoes, and then he would put them together? Is it C, they started in the U.S. Army mess hall in Ohio just after World War II, faced with a surplus of potatoes in limited time, cooks cut them into wedges and fried them in the chicken oil and served them alongside the fried chicken? Or D, they were created by a truck stop cook in Portland, Oregon in 1958, and he wanted a side dish that was hardier than fries but faster than baked potatoes, and he pressure fried them, and they became a favorite along U.S. Route 30, which is why you have it between the Northwest and Ohio.
I'm going to go with A.
A, the Flavor Crisp.
Yeah,
Yep.
for the trade show.
Yep. Susan?
I'm between Youngstown, JoJo, Giuseppe, because there's Italians there.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one with the 30, the road from, I'm going to go Youngstown.
Okay. Charlie is correct. It
Oh,
was the Flavor Chris Flyer. His name was Nick Nicewonger. Just to kind of put his name out there.
Hmm.
He invented it in the mid '60s, and that is what he said. He would clean up the oil in between and
hmm.
serve it as almost like going to throw it away, and people would eat the potatoes. And now it is a thing. And his salesman stops were both the
Oh,
West and Ohio. So
Yeah, so I think I shared with you at one time my first job after putting up hay was as a dishwasher in a local restaurant, and we had a pressure fryer for chicken.
there you go.
And so we had to find ways to clean up the oil as many times as possible before we
interesting.
shift it off because
And you use
it's
potatoes?
expensive. We did not. I don't know what else we
Oh,
used, but I thought about that. If you're at a trade show,
right.
right, you don't have time to switch out the oil.
No,
Right.
So
no. All right. Number 3. What is in Chicago's mother-in-law sandwich? So there's a sandwich in
probably
Chicago called
kale.
mother-in-law sandwich. What is in it? Is it A, a triple-decker roast beef sandwich with horseradish and pickled onions, supposedly named, and I apologies for mother-in-laws here, named because it brings tears to your eyes? Is it B, a mass-produced tamale served in a hot dog bun topped with chili, sports peppers, and tomato, supposedly named because it gives you heartburn?
Oh my God.
Is it C, sloppy Joe ground beef and coleslaw between 2 slices of cornbread, so messy you need someone else to clean up after you? Or is it D, French fries and chili spooned over a griddled buttered hot dog bun, cheap, but constantly reminds you that you made a bad mistake?
Oh my God.
These are
Oh,
awesome. These are great choices.
yeah.
Susan, you go.
I might just go for that heartburn. That feels like Chicago to me, the heartburn situation.
Okay, so B, the tamale.
Sandwich. Oh, the tamale. The
Yeah.
tamale. Okay. I'm going to go for the last one where it's just realize you made a mistake.
Okay. Susan is correct. It is B. It is a tom tom tamale is usually used. I've had these before. And they're served at only a few places in Chicago, but they're very famous. So Fat Johnny's on Western and then Johnny O's. I don't know why they're both named
Oh,
Johnny, but they both have mother-in-law sandwiches, and that
How
is
about that?
that is the thing. Okay. Number 4, Geta. If you've ever had Geta, Geta is in Cincinnati, Ohio Classic, and you really only find it in Cincinnati. It is a meat and grain sausage, or really a mush, similar to like a scrapple,
Hmm.
but it's made with ground meat, usually pork or beef, steel cut oats, onions, and spices. So think of that's, and it's usually a lot more oats, but it depends on which one you get. This weekend, so July 25th, this weekend and next weekend is Geta Fest in Cincinnati,
Oh,
Ohio.
we should be meeting there.
We should be. It's a big deal in Cincinnati. So anyone listening from Cincinnati, it's a big deal. All of the following you will find this weekend and next weekend at GetaFest, except which one? What will you not find at GetaFest? Will you find a Geta vending machine, Geta fudge brownies,
oh my God.
C, grilled Geta donut sandwich with bacon and egg, or D, soft served topped with crispy Geta?
I'm going to go vending machine.
Okay, so you do not think that they will find that at.
I don't think you'll find a get a vending machine.
Okay.
I'm going to go
Susan.
B.
B, fudge brownies.
Yeah.
Okay. You are both incorrect. You will find a vending machine. You will find brownies, and you definitely will find a donut sandwich. It's on their webpage. But you will not find soft serve topped with Geta.
Really?
Huh.
Nope.
I thought
But
that sounded good.
They
Yeah,
are
sweet
very.
savory.
Their vending machine is right on their front page. They're very proud of the vending machine. You can get a tube, basically like a bulk, like a chub of Geta. Yeah. All right, number 5. I think we
Is this
are.
the last one? Is this
This
the
is the
tiebreaker?
last one. Last
This
one.
is it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we're tied.
Yeah, we're tied.
What is pig picking cake? What is pig picking cake? Is it A, cornbread layered with pulled pork and mustard barbecue sauce served at Carolina pig roast? Is it B, a rich chocolate sheet cake topped with crunchy cracklins and pecans, popular at Southern barbecues? Is it C, an orange flavored yellow cake topped with pineapple cream cheese frosting served at pig roast? Or is it D, a regional Tennessee name for cinnamon sugar monkey bread that must be picked apart to eat? So it's just another variation of monkey bread.
What was the name of this thing? Picking.
Picking
Picking
cake.
cake.
Pick-
I'm going to go with
picking.
A. It's probably too simple,
Okay.
but I'm going to go with A
Cornbread.
because of,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Occam's razor.
Susan.
I was going to go A, but I want to go different. What was B again?
B was the chocolate cake with the cracklins and the pecans.
Which
Okay,
sounds
and
great.
C was the pineapple situation without
That's right.
anything to do with pig.
Yep. And then D was the monkey bread.
I'm going to go C. Yeah.
Yep, you are correct, Susan. It is C. A
Good
picking
choice.
cake is a popular Carolina dessert served at pig roast, or sometimes called in Carolina pig picking events.
Interesting.
I think we tied. I think you both.
No,
tied.
Susan
Nope.
won.
Susan won.
Susan won.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
rarity. Go out and buy a lottery ticket, people.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We have a decent crowd here today, and we know that many more will be listening. In August, we will be celebrating our 50th, not 500th.
Is it finally?
Our 50th, our 50th episode of 3Squares, and Stacy Bates of HEB will be joining us as a guest. So tune in again next month. Thank you so much for joining us at 3Squares again. You can always connect with us at 3Squares Mail, the numeral 3Squares Mail at gmail.com. And until then, we will see you next time in August. Thanks for joining us. Susan, Kevin, have a great weekend.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
You too. Bye.